Okay, hello everybody out there. Hopefully everyone's doing all right. I just want to talk about, how World War III is going on. How's Armageddon faring for everybody? So, yeah, let's talk about. I want to start with Senator Chris Murphy's tweets. He tweeted out on Friday. I believe they had a briefing. The senators had another briefing, and his tweets are actually quite revealing about what's really going on. So let's just break down all of them, and then we'll talk about what Trump's saying, and then what's I want to stay in the realm of this. These are things we can't dispute, right? Like there's all these arguments about what's really happening in Israel. Are they getting hit? They're not getting hit, or our base is getting hit? Are they not getting hit? Let's talk about what no one can dispute, what we all agree on, and then let's move forward instead of trying to debate stuff that we only know a little bit of information. All right, so let me launch into what Chris is saying. So it's crystal clear now that Trump has lost control of the war. He badly misjudged Iran's ability to retaliate. The region is on fire. I'm going to explain to you what I've learned in part from closed-door briefings about the 4 biggest current crises. So, I would agree with his assessment. You hear a lot of propaganda on the mainstream that we're kicking ass. Of course, Hegseth is saying we're kicking ass. But, this guy just came from a briefing where the real information is saying, and he's saying it's a complete clusterfuck. Okay. Crisis 1. Trump believed Iran would not close the Strait of Hormuz. He was wrong, and now oil prices are spiking. The strait stays closed. Global recession will result, but it actually may already be too late. Gas prices are the first to spike, but food prices are next. So I think everyone's been hearing, about 20% of oil comes through the Strait of Hormuz and 30% of fertilizer. And really what's so important about the Strait of Hormuz, and I'll talk about this often, is that's basically the heartbeat of our American empire, right? That's the linchpin. That's what gives us control over the world, is just that little, just that area, basically, that strip of water. It's the linchpin of our empire, but we can't protect it. So, from all accounts, I see the empire retreating, our empire retreating, and doesn't seem like there's anything we can do about it. And he's affirming that. All right, let's keep going here. Right now, Trump has no plan to reopen the strait, and a plan may not exist. The assets Iran uses to harass and attack tankers, thousands of small drones, speedboats, and mines, cannot be eliminated. They are too numerous, too spread out, and hidden. So just the drones alone are very problematic. Iran has a bunch of also drone speedboats, right? These little boats. So I know, Hegseth and the media has been bragging about how we destroyed their navy, we destroyed Iran's navy. That's a bunch of bullshit. So their larger ships were really not part of their strength or part of their battle plan. It's these smaller boats, these drone boats. They can do some serious damage, right? They knew they couldn't defeat the United States punch for punch, right? They couldn't beat us at our game, so they're forcing us to play their game. What about naval escorts for tankers? This is a possibility, but it's harder than you think. First, it would require our entire Navy. 100 tankers need escorting each day. Second, if we cannot destroy the mines and drones, our ships are at risk too. Oh, that's another thing. Yeah, they're mining it right now. Crisis 2, we can destroy Iran's missiles, but not all their drones. And war today is a drone war. Iran can hit oil sites in the region indefinitely because they possess so many cheap weaponized drones. And they blow up critical Oman oil depot 2 days ago. Yeah, I think they blew up the world's largest oil depot. I wanted to talk about just the map. Let's just look at the map of the Middle East. And I wanted to explain why the United States is losing. All right, sorry, 1 second. Let me scroll over to. All right, here we go. So this is the strait, right? So all these oil-rich countries. It's a choke point, right? And it's Professor Jang. I'm a big fan of Professor Jang. I'm like glued to whatever he says. So I obviously go. My recommendation is go research his stuff, or go listen to him. He knows way more than I do. Okay, so yeah, basically the real strength of an empire is to be able to protect shipping lanes, to protect trade routes, and basically. To control these trade routes, and then you levy a tax, right? That's really the basis of the American dollar right now, and that's why it's all at risk. So this is the strait, right? So if you look, there's a little counter here is about 10. I think from here to here is about 20 miles. And the key is you don't even need mines. You don't even need drones. Basically, you need basic artillery, right? Basic artillery from any of these points here. And you can just, as Trump says, obliterate any ship that goes through there. Then you got mines, you got drone boats, and you got these regular little drones. So yeah, any of this area is a hairy spot, right? And then you have, if I zoom out a little bit, there's still, I mean, these mountains. This is just tons and tons of mountains. Again, these drones can launch from here. It's a short run, right? I mean, you can have hundreds of, people hidden in a tent, dug in a hole, mining these drones. And I think, I don't know how many, but I think there's already been about 7 or 8 tankers that have been hit by the Iranians. So they've been making do on, nobody comes through here that they don't want. All right, let's go back to Mr. Murphy. Crisis 2, we can destroy Iran's missiles, but not all their drones. And war today is drone war. Yeah, I mean, we're basically going into a modern day war. The United States, we're going into a modern day war with 1990s technology, or at least, maybe it's modern technology, but it's 1990s, 1980s style of warfare. And the world is, the world has CNN, right? Iran had CNN when we attacked Iraq. They saw what we did to Iraq, and they're like, they've been planning ever since then, to prevent anything bad from, the same thing that happened to Iraq. They've been working to not allow that to happen to them. Let's see if Trump paid any attention to the if Trump paid any attention to the Ukraine war, he would have noticed how drone warfare has changed, but he didn't. He blundered. Worse, the Gulf states are running out of interceptors to stop Iranian missiles and drones, meaning that soon more oil sites will be vulnerable. There's nothing we can stop. There's nothing we can do to really stop the drones and the missiles, right? So my understanding is 17 bases have been attacked. Our embassies, obviously Israel is getting pounded. That's kind of what we know. That's common knowledge right now. But the larger point is, even if these bases are still functional, it's only a matter of time, right, before we have to completely abandon these 17 bases. There's probably going to be more bases that we're going to have to abandon. So that's the larger, the larger story. And yes, we hear, Hegseth saying, we're, their capabilities are degraded 90%. Well, one, it's obvious you didn't know what the hell you were doing before. So how do you know 90% is true, right? You need to know all of them before you can say 90%. If it's 90% of what you know, then maybe that's a fair statement. I mean, he's 90% of what he knows is probably, he doesn't know much. He doesn't know shit. So maybe that is an accurate statement that 90% of what he knows has been destroyed. Crisis 3. A broader regional war is breaking out as Iran proxies in Lebanon hit Israel, and those in Iraq target the U.S. And those in Iraq target the U.S. Israel is now threatening a massive ground invasion of Lebanon, which would become a new crisis. So that invasion has already started. Israel has been invading Lebanon for the last week or two, and there's been serious fighting. And Hezbollah's fighting back. So I'd like to do a breakdown on what's happening there. Let's see. Another potential flashpoints lurk. So far, the Houthis in Yemen have been relatively quiet, probably not for long. They can project power in the Red Sea. For Syria, this is the worst time for Trump to strike Iran. Syria could explode again. Yeah, so the Houthis, we had to retreat from the Red Sea. We could not beat the Houthis. We had to leave. So, I tell people all the time, I get in these discussions, they say, we have the strongest military. I'm like, we couldn't even defeat the Houthis. The Houthis were, I think Yemen is literally like the second poorest country on the planet, and we couldn't defeat them. So why the hell do we think we can defeat Iran? Iran is a serious threat. They're not fucking around. All right, crisis 4. Trump has no endgame. Iran and his proxies can create chaos indefinitely. So what's next? A ground invasion? This would be Armageddon. Thousands of dead Americans. Declare false victory? Then the new Iranian hardliners in charge just rebuild what we destroyed. Yeah, just killing the leaders, this decapitation strategy that Israel and the United States likes to do, it doesn't work. It never works. It's just, Trump thought this would be another Venezuela. He could just come in, bomb some shit, and, he'd look good on TV. Now, basically, my perspective is, the way I view it is, this is a the United States behaves like a bully, right? And that's really what empires are. They're bullies that levy taxes on trade routes. Well, what happens when you bully? What does a bully do when he starts bullying too much, right? Eventually, somebody punches him in the face. And that's, I mean, common knowledge that that's how you deal with a bully is you fight him, you stand up to him and you punch him in the face, and then, he falls flat on his butt. All of this was totally foreseeable. Frankly, it's why previous presidents weren't so stupid to start a war like this. Trump has lost control of the war. His best course now is to cut his losses and end it. That's the only way to prevent an even bigger disaster. All right. I agree. Honestly, I think Trump's stupid. I do think he's a moron. He is competent at some things. He's basically really good at reading the room. He's good at he's like a car salesman. He's good at reading the room and telling you, finding out, okay, what do you want to hear, and he'll tell you what you want to hear. Right? That's his real talent. But so speaking of, let's listen to what some shit Trump has to say.
And power. Look what happened in the last 2 weeks. They weren't supposed to go after all these other countries in the Middle East. Those missiles were set to go after them. So they hit Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Bahrain, Kuwait. Nobody expected that. We were shocked.
Okay, so he's basically revealing he didn't know what the hell he was doing right here. He's outing himself. Yes, Iran was public about this. They said we're going to attack. We're going to close the Strait of Hormuz, and we're going to attack your bases. I mean, they said they were going to do this, and now Trump is up in his eyeballs in shit. All right, here's more Trump being delusional. The United States of America has beaten and completely decimated Iran, both militarily, economically, and in every other way. But the countries of the world that receive oil through the Hormuz Strait must take a lot of that passage, and we will help a lot. The U.S. will also coordinate with those countries so that everything goes quickly, smoothly, and well. This should have always been a team effort, and now it will be. So he's basically asking for other countries to help defend the Strait of Hormuz. Which there's another article here that they decline. Basically, all these other countries declined, said, this is your mess. It should have always been a team effort, and now it will be. It will bring the world together with harmony, security, and everlasting peace. So starting war, bullying other countries will bring harmony. Like, I don't understand the logic there, but okay. Trump is again flailing. He's floundering. He's looking for people to help him defend the Strait of Hormuz. Yeah, I mean, again, the empire is retreating in every sense of the word. Iran. This is a long one. Iran has long been known as a master of media manipulations and public relations. Okay, so now we're going to the excuse that it's always the media's fault for Trump. Can I just put an aside? There's nothing bitchier and cowardly than blaming other people for your failures. I mean, I thought he's supposed to be this like masculine man that's like, going to bring back masculinity, but he's crying like a little bitch here. His first statement is, "Oh, the media is mean to me. They are militarily ineffective and weak." Okay, well, if they're so weak, then why are we attacking them? Right? Why are they such a threat? Why do we need to attack them because they're a threat, but they're not a threat because they're militarily weak? Which is it? I mean, this was the same bullshit about Russia. Right? Russia's weak. Oh, just a few more bombs, and Russia will collapse. It's all bullshit. But they are good at feeding the very appreciative fake news media false information. Okay, well, I'll just let that one go. Now, AI has become another disinformation weapon that Iran uses quite well, considering they are being annihilated by the day. Well, if they're being annihilated, our oil would be passing through the Strait of Hormuz, no problem. They showed phony kamikaze boats shooting at various ships at the sea, which looks wonderful, powerful, and vicious, but these boats don't exist. It's all okay. So now the speedboats are AI. Is this the lie Trump's really going with? Does anybody really believe, even Trump supporters, does anybody really believe that their drone boats and Iran speedboats don't exist and it's all AI? If they have drones that fly in the air, why don't they have drones that are on the water? Actually, drones that are in the water are much easier to create and design and to build. Let's see, where was I? It's all false information to show how tough their already defeated military is. Okay, so if their military is, again, if their military is defeated, then why are we still attacking them? The 5 U.S. refueling planes that were supposedly struck down and badly damaged, according to the Wall Street Journal's false reporting, and others, are all in service. Okay, that's a very obvious lie. I mean, I think even the military has admitted that, yeah, we lost 6. That they're willing to admit. My guess is there's probably a whole lot more that have been destroyed that they're not telling us. But, take everything I say with a grain of salt, take everything everybody else says with a grain of salt, and, verify everything. I think everyone should gobble up as much information as they can. That's my approach. Okay, that's an aside. Where were we? The Wall Street Journal's false reporting and others are all in service, with the exception of one. That's the one that crashed, and everyone saw that one, which will soon be flying the skies. Buildings and ships that are shown to be on fire, it's fake news generated by AI. For instance, okay, so everything we're seeing is all AI. Okay. For instance, Iran, working in close coordination with the fake news media, shows our greatest USS Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier, one of the largest and most prestigious ships in the world, burning uncontrollably in the ocean. Now, not only was it not burning, it was not even shot at. Iran knows better than to do that. So Iran has claimed, I think, 3 times that they've targeted and scored hits on the Abraham Lincoln. Here, let me do a quick search right now. Let's see its whereabouts, because my understanding is Abraham Lincoln is retreating. Now, what exactly happened to it, we don't know. Let's see, CENTCOM. This is from Middle East Eye. The U.S. military said Iran did not destroy or disable USS Abraham Lincoln after Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps claimed it had struck the aircraft carrier with ballistic missiles in the Gulf. To be clear, the Abraham Lincoln carrier strike group continues to dominate Iranian airspace from the sea, CENTCOM said in a post on X, rejecting the claim that the vehicle had been rendered inoperable. Okay, so CENTCOM is saying everything's fine. My understanding is it is retreating. Let's see if I can find an article. Okay, so I guess officially it's still in the theater of battle, but it did have to move far away from. And later I'll explain my understanding of how this battle is playing out, or at least what everybody's capabilities are. But okay, anyways. All right, so we don't have a full picture on the aircraft Abraham Lincoln, but okay. Iran knows better than to do that. Iran is not afraid of the United States at all. The story was knowingly fake, and in a certain way, you could say that those media outlets that generated it should be brought up on charges for treason for the dissemination of false information. The fact is, Iran is being decimated, and the only battles they win, in quotes, are those that are created through AI and are distributed by corrupt media outlets. I want folks to take a mental note, right? Take a mental note of what he's saying, and then, like a few months from now, compare that to the truth, right? Because, I mean, this guy just lies nonstop. He contradicts himself within the same paragraph. So, I mean, he wants to just lie his way through life. The radical left-wing press knows full well, but continues to go forward with false stories and lies. That's why their approval rating is so low, and I can win a presidential election in a landslide by getting only 5% positive press. Okay, so the press, he's partially right here. The press has been rough on him, probably unfairly. I like what Owen Schroyer said on the Jimmy Dore show. I'm a big fan of Jimmy Dore's show. He said, the press used to have to lie about Trump, but now they just print the truth to make him look bad. They still have to lie to make him look bad. Now they just print what he says to make him look bad. And it makes him look like an idiot, because he is an idiot. Now, his first point, I mean, the press has sold every war. It's been pro-war since Reagan, right? I mean, the press has sold and hoarded themselves out for every war. So I don't know what the hell he's talking about there. They have no credibility. There, I agree with him. I'm so thrilled to see Brendan Carter, the chairman of the Federal Communications Commission, FCC, looking at licenses of some of these corrupt, highly unpatriotic news organizations. They get billions of dollars free of free American airwaves and use it to perpetuate lies, both in the news and most of all, shows including the late night morons who get gigantic salaries for horrible ratings and never get, as I used to say in The Apprentice, fired. Thank you for your attention on this matter, President Donald J. Trump. Okay, so he's hinting at basically taking away media that is not favorable to him. I think he's talked more about this today. I don't have any slides or supporting data, but that's my understanding. So this is fascist behavior. All right, he's talking about. I mean, there's people who still say that he's not a fascist. I think yes, it's very obvious Trump's a fascist. I mean, trying to censor the media, that's very fascist behavior. So, okay, let's venture forward. What else we got here? I think that's all from Trump. I did want to show this video. Jackson Hinkle tweeted this out. A lot of other people tweeted it out. But this is a video from a drone. This isn't even Iran either. This is one of Iran's proxies, and this is the United States, Army base, or I don't know what base this is. And it's just running around freely without a care in the world. I'll speed it up. Here, I'll speed it up. But yeah, I mean, it's just, nobody with machine guns are shooting at this thing. I mean, it's just doo-doo-doo, having a good time. I mean, it's could have stopped and smoked a cigarette. Like, yeah, hey, look, there's a good spot to smoke a cigarette. Okay. I mean, I'm guessing it's gaining intelligence. I mean, this is a 2.5 minute video. Yeah, so I mean, it's just having a day, and then boom, it finds its target, and then that's it. So that's been passed around a lot. Let's see, what else? What else we got? Let's see. Here's a quote from Professor Steve Keen. He's an economist that I really respect. I'll probably cover some of his videos. His kind of claim to fame was he called the 2009 economic crash, or 2008. He was one of the few to sniff it out. What's really nice about him is he uses a lot of modeling, computer modeling, to predict economies. The economic consequences alone should terrify every person on this planet. The Strait of Hormuz is 23 kilometers wide. If it closes 20% of the world's oil supply, the low sulfur type that refineries everywhere are specifically built on to process simply vanishes. So that's a good point. Like the oil, the reason Saudi and Middle East oil is so valuable is because it's very easy to process, right? It's easy to get out of the ground and it's easy to process. That's why it's so desirable. And like Canada has a lot of oil, but it's very dirty oil. Venezuela has a lot of oil, but it's more difficult to process. There's no replacement system. There's no replacement. The system has no buffer. Economic theory told us we did not need one. So, yeah, the capitalist system it runs hot, right? There's not a lot of margin for error, and this is a big error. I did want to. Oh, here's another fun post from Belgium. This is Middle East Observer tweets out. All right, so Belgium, we have no choice but to reach an agreement with Russia. The Prime Minister of Belgium, there's only one way left for European Union countries' agreement. Since we cannot threaten Vladimir Putin by sending weapons to Ukraine and cannot economically suffocate him without the support of the United States, only one method remains: agreement. So if everyone remembers, one of the main impetuses for the Ukraine war was basically to strangle Russia, to choke Russia. Russia's emerged much stronger. And this is what I mean by the empire is in retreat, right? We're having to retreat from our army bases, from our military bases. We cannot defend our most vital trade route. And now even our friends, who are mostly there to, help strangle Russia. I mean, that's what they're saying. They're calling uncle, right? And Trump has already allowed for he's made exceptions for Russian oil to be sold around the world. So yeah, I thought these sanctions were supposed to cripple Russia, but now Russia's. I mean, they get to sell oil at a premium now, right? I mean, before they were selling oil at $50 a barrel, $40 a barrel. Now Now it's 100, 120. So they're laughing their way to the bank. Let's see. There's one other thing I wanted to show folks, and then we'll talk about how to be positive, or what Professor Jang talked about this. It was one of his first clips that he brought, one of his latest lectures. Okay, yeah, this is different, but I did want to bring this up. So this is Major General.
بدون خروج آمریکا از خلیج فارس و کنترل تنگه هرمز به دست خود کشورهای منطقه، مثلا ما و کشور عمان که دو طرف این تنگه هستیم.
All right, I'll just read it. It's got subtitles but no audio. Okay, I'll read it. Without the U.S. withdrawal from the Persian Gulf and control of the Strait of Hormuz, countries of the region. Sorry, let me turn his audio down. Especially Oman, which are on both sides of the strait, it is impossible to achieve security, and the end of the war is in our hands. We look to the end of the war. When we first recover all of our losses from America. So first they're asking, Iran's already stated their terms, right? They want reparations for the war. So we're going to have to pay one way or the other. Unless we actually win this war, we have to find a plan or a way to win this war. We're going to have to pay reparations. Secondly, we must achieve 100% guarantee of the future, which is not possible without America's withdrawal from the Persian Gulf. So we're going to have to pay to rebuild their country. We're going to have to leave the Persian Gulf. Therefore, the second condition is America's withdrawal from the Persian Gulf. Without the U.S. withdrawal from the Persian Gulf and control of the Strait of Hormuz by the countries of the region, especially us and Oman, which are on both sides of the strait, it is impossible to achieve security to the end of the war. It is in our hands. We look to the end of the war, when we will first recover all of our losses from America. Secondly, we must achieve 100% guarantee. So he's repeating this over again. Okay, so yeah, Iran is saying, get the fuck out of the Persian Gulf. And I don't see much we can do right now to stop it. I mean, while I'm looking for this other video, I mean, our only strategy that I can see is we're, just bombing the shit out of people, hoping they will give up. But it never works. You cannot just bomb people into submission. It just doesn't work. Oh yeah. And this is a good one. So this is their president. So they just had a holiday, a big Muslim holiday. This is their president, Pezeshkian. He's just walking around. He doesn't have a security detail. He's just chilling, high-fiving everybody. You think Trump could do that? I think if he walked down New York City or Philadelphia, you think he could just walk around without a security detail? I mean, it's hard to get a more stable government than this. So he's just chilling out. Sorry, I just wanted to bring that one video. I'm hoping this video blew my mind. So they're having a rally. So these people are having a rally. This is in Tehran. Do you think you can get this many people to support Trump's government in New York City, in Washington, D.C.? So they're having a rally. They hear a bomb. They hear multiple explosions. What do? They cheer. These people cheer. They're like, fuck you, America. Bring it on. These people are not going to give up. Right? I mean, we've traumatized their country. We've attacked their country with sanctions. Sanctions, in my opinion, are a war crime. Look at all those people. What's that, 100, 200,000 people? You think you can get that tomorrow in Washington, D.C. to support Trump in this war? I mean, these people are ready to die for their country. And this video is a week old, but I still wanted to talk about it. Okay, yeah, here it is. So I want to break down this video. Let's leave it on this.
Boots on the ground in Iran. Are you afraid of a U.S. invasion in your?
Sorry, let me.
Boots on the ground in Iran. Are you afraid of a U.S. invasion in your country?
No, we are waiting for them.
You were waiting for the U.S. military to invade the ground troops?
Look at his face. This I don't know who this reporter is, but he's obviously a clueless moron. He's like, oh, you're waiting for it? He was like surprised, right? This guy, where is it? the Iran foreign minister says, no, we're waiting for you. You're going to send troops? Bring it on. And this guy's like, oh, you're not afraid? He's like, no, we're not afraid. Bring it.
Yes, because we are confident that we can confront them, and that would be a big disaster for them.
I mean, Iran, again, they've been preparing for this. Iranian, a little bit of history is, there was in the 90s, there was the Iraq-Iran war where the United States backed Iraq to weaken Iran, right? So 9 years they've been at war. And then after that, they've had crippling sanctions. So they've basically always been at war. They've always been preparing for this. And this guy's saying, yeah, we're fine. We're ready. We're ready for this fight. This is the fight we've been working for 30, 40 years.
So you're saying that Iran is ready and willing to take on the U.S. military if there were to be ground troops?
Well, we were ready for this war even more than the previous war. So you can see, the quality of our missiles, how much they are upgraded after the last war, because we learned lots of lessons. And we are prepared for any other eventuality, even, a ground invasion. So our soldiers are prepared for any scenario. When I said that we are waiting for them, it didn't mean that we are waiting for continuation of the war. No, but we have prepared ourselves to confront with any scenario, with any eventuality, any possibility, and we know that we can handle that.
Are your allies Russia and China helping you?
Well, they are supporting us politically and otherwise.
So yeah, Russia and China is helping Iran, just like we helped Ukraine. I know people are getting their panties in a wad over that, but yeah, I mean, if you ever play poker, like I play poker sometimes. I'm not super good at it, but I'm okay. I'm better than average. And every once in a while in poker, you'll have like what's called a chip leader. So you have a guy who's like, he's been winning the game for the past 45 minutes through an hour, and he's got all the biggest chips stack on the table, and you can always tell because his body language. He's the shit for that time. He's the shit, and that's what this guy looks like, right? This guy looks like the chip leader at the table. He's running the table. He's got the biggest stack of money. He can push people around. He's confident. You might take some money from him. He might lose a hand or two here and there, but he's got the table figured out. That's the face of a chip leader, a guy that's kicking ass. So, yeah, I mean, I see the United States. We're bombing a lot of schools. We're bombing police stations. We're doing a lot of double tap strikes. We're bombing the shit out of Tehran. What people should realize is, why are we bombing civilian targets, right? Like we bombed a desalination plant in Iran. There's a lot of videos of us bombing decoys, blow up helicopters, planes painted on the ground, right? Why are we bombing this stuff? Because we don't know what else to bomb. That's the answer, right? We don't know what the hell we're doing, and it's very obvious. And by Trump's own admission, he doesn't know what the hell he's doing. By Senator Chris Murphy's own admission, we don't know what the hell we're doing. This is the face of a guy that knows what the hell he's doing. So yeah, I mean, if this is the end of the American empire, the American dollar, you just want to leave folks with some positivity or empowerment, right? And I think, like this whole channel, the reason I started it is because, yeah, our leaders are idiots, right? And they don't know what the hell they're doing. I mean, this is obvious to me long before the Iran war. But, my advice today to, it's always about improving yourself, improving the world around you. But the one tangible takeaway I would say is find a third space. Find a third space. What I mean by that is find a third place. You got work, you got home, right? Your family. Find a third place where you can go make friends, that you can be a part of. Like Cheers. You ever it's probably a little bit old for millennials, but Cheers was a great show in the 80s, right? And the song was, the opening song was, you want to be where everybody knows your name, right? So there was the Cheers. It was about a bar where there was a kinship, right? That was their third space for a lot of people. And I think a lot of Americans, they don't have a third space. They don't have a coffee shop or a bar or, men's club or a gym they can go to and see their friends where people know who they are. So my advice is find a third place, right? What I did is I started playing poker at a bar, and now I've made a lot of friends there, and they're always happy to see me. It's been a great experience. I improved my poker skills. Please don't get gambling addictions. There's enough of that. So if you're prone to gambling addiction, I don't recommend poker. Find something else. I took an art class a few months ago. That was a wonderful experience. Whatever, it'd be great if you can pair it with improving yourself, right? Like art class, writing, history class, something. Go volunteer, join a church, become spiritual. That's my advice, is find that third space, because the more empowered you are, the more healthy you are, the more in control of your life, the more we're going to survive this, the better chance you have to survive this Armageddon that Trump has gotten us into. So, all right, everyone, have a good day, please.